Do you have any idea how fast I am? How fast this...
Hey, what is up guys? My name is BobLyn, aka PabLoon, and today we are taking a look at the new Eagle Tier 10 Premium British Aircraft Carrier that, well, it has been talked about quite a bit for the past couple of weeks, and rightfully so, because this thing features jet fighters, or attack aircraft. They're not fighters, they are torpedo bombers, and you can see them right here. These are Canberra fighter bombers, and they are torpedo planes. These go insanely fast, and there is only one squadron, and I'm going to get into the details of how this works, because it is quite a special CV in this regard. You can also see that it carries normal mono propeller planes that are TF Mark III Firebrands, and we're going to get into this in just a moment, so let's take a look at this thing. So for the elite bonus here, we can already see that this is a different type of ship, because we have these tactical torpedo bombers. That's what the jet planes are called, tactical squadrons, and this one increases the HP and decreases preparation time of both your normal torpedo bombers and your tactical torpedo bombers, and this one increases flooding chance and damage, so I went with this. For the camo here, these two camos are what we get. This is the historical one. I really like this one, and it is the exact same stats as the Wings of the Crown, which is a special camo that comes with this ship. I also like this camo, but I actually think the historical one is really cool, so that's the one I would be using when I was testing this. Now, off the bat, guys, I'm just gonna say right now, I did not go out and get crazy gameplay. There are quite a few bots in the gameplays I got, and it's mostly gonna be a compilation of, you know, clips so you guys can see what the ship can do, because I'm not a good CV player and I don't want to be playing a CV. So yeah, it's kind of, you know, ambivalent I'm making this video, but you guys need to know what's coming, and this one's quite good to know what it is. Here we can see the different ship specialties. You get AP bombs. This is an AP carpet bomber, so just like Malta, you have the carpet bombing skill, and you get tiny AP bombs, so no fires for this thing, which is quite nice. Now these bombs do damage, trust me. They're quite devastating, especially to BBs and CVs. But you also get tactical squadrons. This warship is equipped with a highly maneuverable tactical squadron. And let's get right into that. So here we see the main guns, don't care about those. The dive bombers, you get 26 in total, and you have 4 planes per squadron, and there's 6 bombs per plane. So you have a total of 24 bombs that could hit the target, which they do quite a good amount of damage. Torpedo bombers, you have 19, and you have 2 squadrons under your command. Same for the dive bombers, I forgot to mention that. So you have 2 dive bomber squadrons and 2 normal torpedo squadrons, just like Malta. And 19 in capacity, 3 torpedoes per plane, just like Malta. Fighters, you have 1 fighter squadron, 16 planes in total. And these fighters are, you know, pretty middle of the road, I would say. Oh my god, Razor, fuck off. Sorry guys, I did not know that was coming. But what you're all waiting for, the tactical torpedo bomber Canberra fighter bombers here. You have 10 in total, and you have only 1 squadron under your command. But in total, combined with your other torpedo bombers, you now have 3. These have 2 planes, and they carry 2 torpedoes per plane. And the preparation time is 25 seconds, as you can see. Now, you don't see the plane speed here. It doesn't tell you that. But you guys will see how fast these things are, and how devastating it can be. I have a clip where I just completely annihilated Daring very early on, and he doesn't really stand a chance. For my build, I'm running the Carrier Hangar Modification 3 to get more capacity and everything. I don't know if this affects my tactical torpedo squadrons. I can't tell you guys, but I would assume so. We take propulsion and concealment, and these are my supplies right here. In one of the clips, I will tell you guys, I was using Andrew Cunningham, but in most of the clips, I was just using a normal commander. This is my Cunningham setup, pretty standard. I mean, he is devastating for anything because he has crippling blows. This does so much damage to modules. But the other guy I was using was this normal guy right here, and this is my setup I went with. You can already hear, you guys, I'm not too fussed about this CV. It's not as bad as FDR, but I don't really know what to say because it's such a unique kind of CV. But let's just jump right into the gameplay, and I'll give you guys some commentary on what I think about this ship. So in this first clip here, I want to show you guys the raw power of the normal Eagle. So this is just without its normal tactical squadrons. And as you saw in the beginning clip, you have these two different weapon types out on your right hand side, just like if you wanted to swap to torpedoes or secondaries. But these are pretty devastating strikes, 1800 damage. This is without Andrew Cunningham. So you can see that this is a very capable CV without these torpedo bombers. And I am going to show you, that this thing, if you are good enough, you can multitask all these different squadrons, you are able to do a ton of damage. And these torpedo bombers that are the jet caliber, the jet variant, these Canberra planes, they are immensely fast. It's kind of hard to see in the clip I showed you in the beginning, but I can feel it when I'm putting these guys out in the field. They are there instantly, and it's very, very hard for especially cruisers and battleships to even dodge these. The daring in the beginning did not dodge too much, so obviously we got, free reign on him. But for me, a carrier player who's not very good, especially with these British torpedo bombers that tend to be very slow once they get in the waters. The torpedo is slow once it hits the water. They are very hard to use, but these, jet ones are very, very easy for me to get down and get kills with. And the clip you see here is just without the jets. I am not even using them. I didn't even know in the beginning here, this is one of my first ever games, that it was out there on the right side. I think a lot of us press accounts didn't realize that we had to actually manually press and select another weapon type. So in this clip I didn't even use them. And was just struck by how good it actually was, just the base variant. Alright, so here I have a clip where we are going to use the torpedo bombers. This is once I actually figured out how to use them. And the funny thing is, I was making this video and talking about the stats of the ship, and I could not figure out how where these jet bombers were, because I had figured out that it was a completely different weapon type. So that is just, a PSA to anyone trying to get this ship. If you're wondering where your torpedo bombers are going to be, these jet guys, they are out in the right hand side, and you can see them there marked with a little white star. So this is conventional ammunition or armaments being dropped on this Black Republic. You can see my fighters engaging this midways, and of course under the Black Republic's AA we will get shredded, but mostly I found that we lost against midways and such. And here I was not looking at my screen. I think you can see that with my mouse all of a sudden appearing. So we completely missed this Republic, which was my own fault, but that is fine. We're gonna go on to the Sou here. So I think a lot of you guys are asking the question, is this thing overpowered? And I have a really hard time thinking that this thing is better or more threatening than an FDR is, or even Malta for that matter, because this thing, like I said, has AP bombers, and here we see the torpedo dudes coming into action. If you look at the minimap, you can see how fast this thing is going. It is going to overtake my dive bombers, both of them here, in just a second, and you're going to see this thing barrel towards this Sou. Look there, it just overtook my dive bombers. And it is insanely quick to turn and to readjust these torpedoes. You can see how hard it is for this guy to actually dodge. And they do a little bit less damage than the normal torpedo bombers, so I actually find them to be... and a lot of people are going to think I'm crazy for saying this. I actually find them to be kind of well made. They are not that difficult to shoot down. They do get affected by AA. Our computer controlled, AI controlled AA actually hits these things, and since there are only two of them, if you shoot down one, there's only going to be 2 torpedoes in the drop. So I have not faced any good AA yet in this ship. I refused to fight Worcesters because that's just suicide. So I went for the easiest targets, and Sou is obviously an easy target. And against a ship like that, it's never going to be fair. But when we compare this to its peers, FDR and Malta and Midway, I didn't see this one being overpowered or better than these. in any way, really. The fighters weren't better. The AP bombers, yes, they do chunk quite a bit, but they don't set fires. And last I remembered, if you hit somebody with the multi-dive bombers, they both do really good damage if you hit all, and they set fires. So already here, I feel like the Eagle is a more fair aircraft carrier. But as you see here, he managed to take out one plane, but we still get 2 off. And we get another flooding. So the one very threatening power to this ship is if you are good with torpedo bombers. So if you played a lot of Haku, a lot of Malta, then you're going to be feeling right at home in this, because you have 3 torpedo squadrons. And one of them is insanely fast. I really did enjoy playing with this, and I have to say that is, you know, not something I wanted to admit, but I found these new tactical squadrons to be fun. Now, that being said, we have to talk about balancing here, because the one thing that comes to mind for me when I hear of a jet plane being implemented into a game where we use artillery and shells from, you know, big guns, is where are our surface-to-air missiles to defend ourselves against jets? Because in the real world, and this is what Wargaming are doing, they're, you know, implementing stuff from the real world in 1950s or early 60s, where jets and missiles and radar technology was really, really improved. And here we're seeing the jets being implemented for the carriers. Where are, you know, our surface-to-air missiles? Where are our radar-controlled anti-aircraft guns? Where is my phalanx? You know, this is all I can think is, if we're going to go into the jet age, we also need something that we can defend ourselves with. And the current AA buff is not going to help you against these CVs. And it doesn't matter if it's the Eagle, FDR, or Malta. They're all very, very powerful in their own right. And Malta and Eagle here are just, you know, 2 versions of the same ship. One of them is very torpedo focused, that's the Eagle. And the other one is more focused on dot damage and setting a ton of fires. So that is what scares me. The Eagle in itself here, no, I did not really find this one to be as bad as FDR. I didn't think I would say this. I know it's going to be very shocking to see these jets the first time, but to be honest, the spread of the torpedo is quite wide, and the ability for you to dodge in between and maybe only get hit by 1 or 2, or maybe not even any of them if you destroy one plane and maybe dodge the 2 that get dropped, they're not that bad. I mean, I would much rather face the Eagle than I would face the FDR, where you can barely dodge the whole salvo. But that is just my opinion. And one thing you do have to keep in mind here, guys, is the fact that this ship has not been played and tested by the good CV players. Well, yeah, there are some good CV players in the CC community, of course, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that this thing has to be played, people have to get used to it, and once that happens, this is probably going to be a different story. But so far, I think this one is okay. It's definitely not going to ruin the meta, and that's important. And now we're continuing here with the intro clip. This is the continued part of it. It is mostly a bot game, so sorry guys if you were expecting some high-skilled CV gameplay. Yeah, this is not where you'll find it. That being said, also, talking about, I'm saying this is probably not going to ruin the meta, and I could say, I'm saying that with a grain of salt, because I've also seen what some of my, you know, colleagues, I guess you could call it, in the CC community have done. Tons of people can get over 100k damage with this thing. I know Sly had 100k average or something. I didn't experience that. I felt quite targeted from CV snipers, and a funny anecdote is I got 2 strikes from a Manfred and I was done with this thing. My fighters couldn't protect me, my AA couldn't protect me. It felt quite weak in that regard, and that was just something to note. But yeah, it's still very scary, I think, that we are getting jet planes, and the AA buff we've gotten could not even do anything about it. Here you see this Neptune here, like, it's a perfect hit. They do 1883 on the Neptune. Not the most insane damage, but when you compare it and sort of combine it with, you know, the normal conventional strikes, it is quite a bit of damage for this Neptune that he's going to be taking here. Now, you see the AP bombers there in action. No citadels. I think I've only gotten 1 citadel with this thing so far. And here I can't see my target, so I just kind of shoot in the dark, and, well, it's going to end up doing him a pretty unfair killing here. But yeah, you see how slow they are. Pretty standard Malta stuff. You've seen it before, and it just takes a couple in the rear and it's over, man. See you later, torpedoes for you. I guess the name fits, huh? But yeah, I I was more frightened for this one than I think I should have been. It's just that you know, jet fighters sounds very, very menacing. But I'm very serious in this, and I think that if you want to add a new era of weaponry, you know, i.e. jets, you need to add the radar that counters it, you need to add the missiles that these ships would have had. And we can't just keep, you know, adding crazy shit without, you know, improving what counters it. It's called power creep wargaming, and it's gonna happen eventually if you keep implementing all this shit. I really don't, you know, want to bash them for adding a cool new feature, because I can tell you right now that CV players will enjoy this. They will really love this ship, and however it's gonna release, probably in a really expensive crate, it's gonna be a fun ship if you enjoy CVs, and I'm not gonna neglect that. But, you know, fun also needs to come with balance, and that's really all I can think about now. So I think I'm just gonna shut up now, and that's gonna be it for this video. I've been blabbering for 16 minutes now, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I am pretty sure somebody, you know, DFA probably will make a more in-depth video about this ship and really get into the stats. So once he uploads his video, I urge you guys to check that out. He is a really good CV player. And other than that, I just want to say thank you for watching, guys. My name has been BobLyn, aka PabLoon, and I am signing out.
Dive bomber squadron, take off. Destroyed an enemy ship.